Welcome to Your Business Matters. The idea of this program grew out of a small group of like-minded business owners in the Boston Metro West area who have banded together as the Metro West Business Alliance to provide essential business boosting services.
We started out by meeting informally, and soon we discovered that we liked being able to help each other with advice in a no-holds-barred, face-to-face forum where we could exchange ideas, air concerns, and frankly, learn a lot about how each of us have overcome the challenges of doing business.
We realized that if there's value in this for us, then why not for others, like you?
Whether you've been in business for years or you're just starting out, we provide fresh perspectives to fellow business people who are interested in improving the bottom line, getting better results, or in simply having more fun doing business.
We welcome you to join our discussion with moderator Bruce Hesson of SBH Consulting. So come on in, join the conversation. We're dedicated to the idea that your business matters.
Hello, I'm Bruce Hassan, and welcome to Your Business Matters. Today we're going to be talking with one of our Alliance members and learning a little more about their business. So I'm pleased to introduce Roy Collin of Land Group Incorporated. Roy, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Bruce. Glad to be here.
Great. Why don't we get started then? So before we talk about your business model, why don't you tell us how did you become a business owner? How was the journey to get you from where you were to where you are?
Well, the journey's pretty complicated, excited, boring. It hits all those things. I went to college 4 years, University of Maine, behavioral science degree. Came out, got an exciting job as a deputy sheriff.
No kidding.
And pretty much what I would tell people that I wrestled drunks on Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
And that really wasn't a good fit for me.
Right.
So me and another guy that were doing the same thing, he was in the same boat as I was, you know, fresh out of school, not really liking what we were doing. So he went to a tech school in Waltham, Massachusetts, got an electronics certificate, got a job in the computer industry in downtown Boston, worked there, liked it a lot, learned a lot. It was a good fit. We went through several transitions back in those days of Chapter 11, just Chapter 11, a buyout, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And then when I became the business owner, it was because of all those things. You know, the last company to buy my company laid us all off. They decided they didn't want that type of business anymore. So I like to say, heroes aren't made, they're cornered. So the day I was laid off, they also laid off the customer base, which at that point had dwindled down too because of all the transition. And so that day I got laid off and I went out to the customers that were left and started a new business, really started my job, continued my job by starting a new business. Okay. Yeah, so I didn't really know what I was doing, right. But I did know how to take care of computers and networks, and I knew how to do that.
Mm-hmm. So the company actually laid off their customer base. They just severed all kinds of ties with the customers. Right.
Well, the company that bought us didn't do the same type of work.
Oh, I got you.
So they didn't buy us for the customers. Well, they kind of bought us for the customers, thinking they could sell them their products, which was, you know, phone systems basically and high-end network gear. Mm-hmm. But anything inside the office itself, as far as computers, file servers, you know, they didn't, printers, they didn't do any of that, and they didn't want to. And so those customers were left, they were left, you know, without anything too.
So what was the process to contact the customers? Just a matter of picking up the phone or visiting them?
Yeah, I went to visit them.
You did?
Yeah, at that time I was their only real contact with the company, because when they were bought by this company, they didn't have a relationship with them. You know, they had a relationship with the company that was purchased, but you know, their sales contact, their admin contact, they were all gone.
Right. So
they just had a contact with the person that was taking care of their network, keeping them up and running. So that relationship was already there. Right. You know, and so it's easy for me to go into them and let them know what happened.
Because you really didn't have another alternative at that point.
Well, their alternative would have been to, you know, seek out another service provider, someone else that could take care of the computers. Right, build this. Yeah. Like that.
Yeah. How many customers did you retain, if you don't mind me asking?
At that point, it was probably The ones that I didn't want to, I couldn't do them all because of some of them needed, it was like we had one law firm that was downtown that was, 6 stories in a building down there, and I couldn't do, I could have, but it didn't make business sense for them to have one person, handle their network. So it was probably about 30 customers, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were you pleased to be able to get 30? Were those your
Oh, yeah.
expectations, or did it exceed your expectations?
They actually exceeded my expectations because I thought, things like, larger firms and customers, we did retain a couple large ones, which was, it was good and could do it. But you would think, business-wise, it was kind of risky for them,
Sure.
to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty interesting as far as you say, you were cornered into doing something heroic. Had
Yeah.
a family at the time?
Yeah, had family and wife, 2 young kids.
So you had
Yeah,
no choice
stay at
but to
home.
be successful.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I had no choice.
Wow.
I had no choice.
Interesting. Did you ever have any thoughts about being a business owner while you were working for this firm before that situation occurred?
That never crossed my
No.
mind. No,
No
I had
desire
no desire.
whatsoever.
I didn't.
So the other question would be, do you have ambition to go work for someone else today? Or do you want to continue to be a business
No,
owner?
I enjoy what I do, so yeah, I don't have any intentions of,
Right. Gotcha.
working for someone else again.
Sure, oh, great, that's a good story. And any stories relative to your time as a police officer? Or was it a sleepy town, or?
Well, it was southern Maine, so it wasn't too busy. It was seasonal, so during the summer months when, the vacations would come up, that was when it would get more exciting.
Gotcha.
And yeah, as far as stories go, I'd rather not. The guy's still working there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll tell you one.
All right, we know we get one out.
Give just one. And this was, we have a little section, this is when I was working in the jail where, where we were watching over the people that weren't going to trial yet. They were pre-trial inmates.
Okay.
And we had this one section where they were in there for serious crimes, but they weren't mentally really all there. I mean, they had
Right.
time in and out with, mental health institutions, that type of thing. Anyway, I walked in to check on him one day, and this guy comes out and totally naked, and I couldn't say anything because I was shocked, and he yells at me, he goes, "I hear the space people, and I know you hear them too." And he turned around and slammed the door, and it was time for a tune-up. And so then we had to bring him to a different facility
Gotcha.
to get
So
some
you got
help.
some help.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, great. So, what exactly does Land Group do? What are your products and services, and what do you do for people?
Okay. As far as products and services, what I do is I provide computer services for small businesses. I really don't provide products anymore because the stuff is becoming so inexpensive that it's easier to manage by just, what I do for products is I just, I'll talk to the customer and they'll tell me what their needs and desires are, and I'll configure, recommend, point them to a place to get it, and all they have to do is, this is what you need, and they go online and they order it. And the main thing that I do is I provide computer services. I'll configure their network, configure their needs for their firewall, security, desktop solutions, printing solutions, and then I implement those recommendations. And then I do ongoing support and service when they have issues, add-ons, changes, applications that don't work,
Right.
work with other vendors. Like say, for example, you have a doctor's office that has a patient calendar appointment management software. I integrate that into their environment, so I work with the vendor who writes and develops that software to make sure that it works like the doctor wants it to work.
Gotcha. How much do you deal with businesses versus individuals? Even mix? Or?
No, it's probably, I would say 80% businesses and 20%
Okay.
home users.
So that's the thrust of your businesses
Yes.
versus individuals.
Yeah.
Things like that. Okay. What's going on in your industry today versus, I mean, do you see it changing, or is it pretty much the same? What do you?
Yeah,
where does it stand?
I do see it changing. I see, PCs still being, a solid part of a business environment where they have to use, computers to do productivity, professional tools, to get that type of work done. In addition to that, I see, increased in smartphones, tablets,
Right.
Almost like consumer stuff.
Gotcha.
Being integrated into the business to do not really business activity, production activity, but more for relationship with customer to customer, business to business, that type of thing. As far as in the home, I'm seeing less and less computers and more of the tablets and smartphones.
So that's directionally where you see it going.
Yeah, I do, and I see it. And for businesses too, there's more cloud applications where there's less cloud applications. I mean, like they'll be running an application in the internet, in the web. It's as a cloud app. Like salespeople might use like a thing called like Salesforce that manages all their contacts and things like that instead of an in-house application. So there's more and more of that happening. There are cloud applications for the legal industry, for financial industry. So that's being more and more. I see that happening more and more.
Right. And based on that, you're prepared to advance with the industry?
Yeah, I like the cloud. The thing with the cloud is, my customers have to be more concerned with security, making sure that the vendors they're working with are secure. So I see my role changing a little bit from being an in-house vendor solely dealing with service, dealing with their vendors to help them decide, is this vendor appropriate? Are they secure? That type of thing.
Gotcha.
And whereas in the home, I'm seeing, those computers going away, laptops going away and just being,
Everything's
handheld.
in hand.
Yeah.
Right. Amazing. So getting ready for any industry changes, where do you see your business as far as strengths? If somebody were to say, what is it that you do well, Roy? What are the strengths of your business?
Okay. As far as, I would say some of my strengths are, from a customer standpoint, is that I'm technically strong and reliable. And what my business tends to do, and I try to do, is build customer loyalty. So I would say that's a strength. Whereas the customer feels like more like a partner relationship with me, and not and don't look at me as a commodity. Where they'll price shop me, service shop me. They'll actually they might get pricing, but they would not use that to negotiate price, but to negotiate costs. Help them with costs of things. Like for example, I would have a customer call me, say their antivirus subscription is running out, and they might have 10 or 12 workstations. So instead of maybe calling several people on different recommendations, they call me and get my recommendation, and then 99% of the time they go with that. The only time that customer loyalty doesn't work out, things happen that are sometimes out of my control, where, for example, the person I'm dealing with doesn't work there anymore, so that relationship's not there. The decision maker is somebody new, things like that. So it takes a while to build that trust.
Gotcha. So trustworthiness is certainly, something that's pretty important.
Sure.
You and your customers. Okay. So technically strong, is there any other strengths you were to say, these are my strengths, these are the things that I do well? Technically strong, relationships with customers. If I need some help, I call Roy. It's not a question of going to
Yeah.
a phone
Okay.
book or something like that. Call
Because other strengths might be, I'm responsive. I care about their business. I care about their data.
Right.
I care, deeply about that stuff. Where if, I'm going to be emotionally hurt if something doesn't go right also. So I guess I'm invested in them,
Yeah.
and their business too. As far as other strengths, I'd have to ask them. I'd have to ask them to see what they.
We haven't got time.
Yeah.
We will. Well, I think the business adage, people, because they want to be very cautious, in my experience, very cautious with their investment dollars. They want to build relationships with people that are likable, knowledgeable, and above anything else, trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something very, very important to clients for you. So that's good. Appreciate that. What about shifting gears a little bit? Any weaknesses in your business that you know of?
Yeah, weaknesses for me are the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day management of the business entity itself. It's whether it be, invoicing, going to the bank, or just those day-to-day things that need to be done. I struggle with being efficient at that.
Gotcha.
Also, I struggle with other parts of the business where it's be planning ahead for development of my business. Also, I'm weak at social networking or marketing type things.
Right.
It just seems like it's overwhelming to, I love doing the day-to-day, so if I have an opportunity to troubleshoot, an issue somewhere, or, write up a brochure, I'll never do a brochure.
Right.
I'll never do
get
it.
there. Right.
Yeah, I'll look for things to do so I don't have to,
Gotcha.
that type of thing.
So the components of running the business, doing the technical thing, dealing with customers that's your arena.
Yeah.
The administrative task is, it's necessary, you'll do them when you get to them. But
Right.
it's, they're not top priorities.
Right, and I'll do them when I get to them, and I would say I don't do them well.
Right. Right. What, so if you look at some of your strengths, and obviously dealing with some of the things that you don't either like to do well or, not really engaged in some of those things, what are some of the opportunities for your business if you want to look forward? If I could spend some time doing this, those would be some opportunities for my business. Anything come to mind as far as some opportunities?
As far as opportunities go, I would say that, there are new businesses starting up all the time, and they all need some level of technical help. Some need more than others. So I'd say, being able to find those opportunities. I mean, knowing that they happen and knowing where they are and how to start that relationship, two different things. So that's something that that I would need to, what I would like to do is to get a hold of those opportunities, because they're always happening.
Sure, right. Well, being a one-man show, it's kind of tough to deal with, because you're essentially running the day-to-day, you're doing everything.
Right,
Right?
right.
You don't have any employees.
No, I
So
don't.
you're doing all this stuff. So there's definitely some opportunities for your business. It's just a matter of identifying them, what you already have, and
Right.
and getting them. Okay. Just for your business, are you looking at any threats, anything that keeps you up at night?
I guess one threat would be increased costs to me, because I spend a lot of time on the road, going to sites. I do remote support too, but I like to be there. When I can. Most of the time, I like to be there, because that just helps that relationship, face-to-face time. But with the increase of cost of travel, is going to increase what I have to charge. And so with existing customers, it's, for most of my existing customers, it's okay, because we have that loyal partnership type relationship. So it's not difficult to, increase. Where the thread is getting new customers where you don't have that relationship,
Right.
and they're going to be cost conscious,
Sure.
and so that increased cost might be a deal breaker.
Right, right. Yeah, because once again, as we talked earlier, people are very cautious about their, investment dollars. I think people are willing to pay premium dollars, if you will, if the service is right, and there's that trust and can I count on you?
Right.
For sure. So pricing is a concern for you as far as costs and keeping your overall price structure intact.
Right.
Okay. Anything else that keeps you up at night?
I don't think there is, Bruce.
Great. I'll call you when I'm up. Okay. So that said and done, what are some of the marketing activities or initiatives that you do to promote Land Group, if any? What are some of the things that you might be doing or should be doing?
Okay, that's a good point. Should and do are different. But what I do, and I should do more, is invest more in my customer base as far as asking for word of mouth type referrals. I mean, because I do have some customers that I've gotten additional business from because of word of mouth referrals. So I guess that's mainly what I do. I belong to a networking group that it's built on word of mouth, and so as far as marketing strategies, that's pretty much all I do. But I should invest more in that because the benefits are are good. And as far as other marketing stuff, I really don't do anything. I mean, I know I should. There's the buzzword is branding. You got to brand your company, brand yourself, and it's I don't do that, and there should be, but that doesn't do much for I guess I'm kind of torn. It was like I know you should do it, but the reasons why, I guess I don't feel it's strong enough for me to be more active in it. So I need a change of mind, a change of heart to actually invest in that, because I know me branding myself doesn't help my goal of having customers be more loyal. It might help for my name to be out there, but it doesn't do anything for loyalty. So I just got to get over that hurdle.
Right. So essentially, the bulk of your business is word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Referrals.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's all word of mouth. I've tried some, some written print stuff, and it wasn't very successful. But then I don't know if that's because, was my ad not, catchy enough? Was it not, if that's why it was effective or not effective?
But it's pretty important to you as far as your word of mouth. Obviously, it's working for you.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it's a question of going to the next level in terms of growing your business. There might be some other activities or initiatives you can do to, once again, grow your business. So you mentioned that you belong to some networking groups. Matter of fact, we belong to a couple ourselves together. What are the benefits of the ones that you do belong to?
Well, I think the most important benefit is it increases my exposure. It increases my presence with other business professionals, other people, other business owners, and with that, it also increases the relationships I have with those people and those businesses. And in return, what that does, it actually produces business. It produces qualified, rock solid referrals that generate revenue.
Right.
And that's the, I can't say enough good about that type of networking, that type of word of mouth. It's worked wonders for me.
Right. Well, certainly an opportunity to generate word of mouth advertising by building relationships and
Right.
networking groups and
Right.
things like that.
I guess I just want to add one more thing about the networking groups that I belong to. The relationships that I get there also help me in my business. They, there are professionals that I use. Either I refer to my customers, and I'm, when that happens, I'm confident that the people I refer to are going to do a well job, and that builds my relationship with my customer,
Right.
increases that loyalty.
Right.
Also, the people I've met this way have also have been advisors to me, been able to see how they do their business, and I can emulate some of that, and they've just been friends.
Right. Well, I think that's the other part of it. It's not only an opportunity to build business and grow your business. It's also an opportunity to build long-lasting relationships.
Right.
That even on a personal, vein. Because I'm sure you have people that, I know you golf with some of the people you've met in groups and things like that.
I'm afraid I do. I golf once.
Well, it's great. So as somebody out in the audience, looking at, has a business starting out maybe, or one that's not going exactly to plan, is it something that you would certainly endorse as far as get into a good networking group as a way to build your business?
Yeah, I think that's essential especially for a startup,
Yeah.
to build those relationships. And that's something I had a good friend of mine that was, tried to get me to, belong to a group, to get out there. And it took him 5 years before I said okay.
Right.
And then I should have done it sooner.
I was just going to ask you that. If you had to do all over again, would you have jumped in a lot sooner?
Yeah, I would have jumped in a lot sooner.
What prevented you from getting in?
I'd like to say it was the time commitment, but it wasn't. It was my shyness, my fear of speaking, and in a group setting where I didn't know anybody.
Right.
That was the biggest reason. Then the second one was the time commitment. I couldn't see myself not doing, taking that time out of my week,
Right.
which in hindsight, the time is minimal for the benefit that you get.
Right, exactly right. Well, it's good to hear. That's good to hear. Let me ask you any final thoughts as far as some of the things that we've talked about today, as far as promoting a business, your business, or advice to folks out there?
Well, as far as it has prompted me to think more about my business. Even just coming here and speaking with you, Bruce, it's caused me to, to evaluate what I'm doing more, which I think is good. I think it's probably something good to do, on a periodical basis.
Right.
Every once in a while, once a year maybe, or once every other year, just sit down and go over the types of questions you ask me, just to, to see what's changed. It forces me to, to think about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
People who like business and who do business, that comes naturally to them.
Mm-hmm.
But people like me who are in business, but we're really tradesmen, or we're really technicians,
Exactly.
we don't, that type of thinking doesn't come natural. So I would advise people, if they're more like me, more and not really business minded, doing something, like this is helpful. Getting in a group is helpful. Just to see what, people do and how they run their business is helpful. It's all, you can just soak up a lot of things from other people just by being around them and building those
Yeah,
relationships.
no, I think that's a good point, because you're right. Most small business owners, if they don't make it or sell it, they don't necessarily have all the, some of the business skills, because they've been very successful selling and or making something.
Right.
And dusting off where they are periodically during the year is, what should I be doing to promote my business, or, or getting into different markets or customer bases, you're absolutely right. I think that's good advice. Well, that's all the time we have for today, and I would like to thank our guest, Roy Collin of Land Group Incorporated. Thank you, Roy, for joining us. And once again, I'm your host, Bruce Hassan, and thank you for joining us today on Your Business Matters, and we'll see you next time.